Welcome to the lovely IHP paid and free subscriber community, the 5D mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people who are here for our late IHP show with stories and more. So if you're not a paid subscriber and you're curious, we have inner growth mindset exercises, readings, and lo and behold, spotlights. In case you didn't see any of the samples, they're out there, 3-minute, 5-minute, 15-minute pieces of content, and that's videos for those who are on Spotify, and no, on YouTube they won't go. For now, I'm sharing samples on YouTube. When our tiers come out, we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, one-to-one mentorship, you can email me to get information on workshops, retreats, and really it's a sign-up sheet because we're gonna get our lovely priority list going and masterclass. That's something in case you're curious. And in the meantime, we were talking about what good guts do, and that's where I got sidetracked. And so we'll have another episode on good guts, how we are not confused by human or AI digital voices. I got a couple of voices going on in the digital sphere. If you watch the launch party where I'm with Cynthia and the other co-authors of the book The Ways to God, I'm a co-author of that one. My chapter is God is discerning equanimous love, so my voice is a little bit lower, but some people don't hear it, some people do. And we might have that same voice for the audio because, again, my computer is, if I share that in one of the shorts. But the two or more voices, loving relationships. So this is where I'm headed with our late IHP show. So good gut is not focused on being doubtful of our lovely human beings and whether they come with God or just the science part. That's why science and spirituality come together. So good gut isn't confused about humanity. We have faith. I have faith, not only thanks to God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, but I got all attachment trauma educated as I do spiritual self-help, personal development. Spiritual growth comes because you own the sense of self, because you have. So with God, he is a very specific frequency that I've perceived of the empowered masculine version. As for that which would be Akash, Anima Mundi, divinity, it has a different frequency. Like when I talk about the heart of sky and I bring it all in, so the enlightenment, so age group of any of those of us who are in the 5D mystic, spiritual, and mindful, because sciences don't make fun of us. They do know we're woo-woo pseudoscience, but we know that too. So the real scientist people, like the real intellectuals, the real ones, they know how to use two sides of the brain because, again, they're not making up in their mind stories that are in a low frequency. So when I do meet those who lack humanity, I know that emotionally immature people, the ones who are not mature, they want love, they want acceptance, but they do not want to work to become emotionally mature. Okay, so let me read to you a little bit. And remember, it's serious business, but we're bodies in connection, which is why self-help, personal development, spiritual growth helps. And it's not that it helps because you're dying inside and you say, I want to. No, it's because you are emotionally not only invincible, but mentally. And you're enriched by every single depth of experience with the ownership of the sense of self. So you're doing it for yourself, but you're also aware of how your brothers and sisters give you the opportunity to do it. It's called differentiation of the self, as I share in one of the shorts. And that's why when someone says, I did, you just chose not to do the very one thing, which is the workout of your ventral vagal state and staying in ventral energy for nothing more than, I did. And then some people say, but why should I do it if they're not doing it? Really? Are you going to bring that into the mix? Let me think. You cannot demand that people help you emotionally regulate while projecting it's not only childhood abusers for the ones who don't heal, it's your teenage attitude. It's unfair, it's unexpected, and which one of the, I want people to do logic, not be what feels right. Are we doing that? I don't want you to smile all the time. Anything, anyone, there's healthy ways you can release that. You do know that, right? So this is where when someone wants to, you leave alone. So they don't consciously choose. No, as Dr. Amy points out, neuroception is what determines our response to everything in any moment of our life. Thank you. The Biology of Trauma podcast. The spotlights of the paid subscribers, again, in the link below, or if you're hearing me, go to the main page of IHP podcast. Yeah, it's not willpower, it's not motivation. If you don't have a body that is safe to be in a ventral vagal state, it's because your default mode network is still scanning self and others. And so that's where I'm attachment trauma educated with a lot of courses and names that I won't be mentioning all of it. But thanks to them, my brothers and sisters, I have faith. I told God, they don't need us, God. They don't need any of us. But we are magic just the same. Yeah. So it's great though. I get to have fun with the grown-ups and we get to have fun with our emotions. And then we get to know that scientists help any of our brothers and sisters to have the kingdom of God within them. And isn't that the best news ever? That we're all special and we're all, yes, children of God. Wow. I know, right? So when I think of people say, no, there's evil demons out there, I think, wow, you must not know Peter Levine and how muscles, bones, and tissues store trauma. You must not have heard of Bessel van der Kolk and how he shares trauma sits in your automatic reactions and your dispositions and how you interpret the world. So in order to really rewire those automatic perceptions, you need to have deep experiences that for your survival brain contradicts how you are now disposed to think. You must have also not heard of Dr. Daniel Fox as he shares, imagine trusting someone less when they are kind to you. And that's because of how abandonment and BPD can sabotage your relationships. Wow, they actually continue to battle people and to continue testing their partners. Misinterpret neutral situations as hostile and negative. Yeah, I understand that because everything is actually supposed to be chaos. So they are comfortable in chaos, which means when they're not around chaos, they feel uncomfortable. So when you understand a pure heart's intention doesn't need divine intervention. A pure heart's intention will know, thank you, Sadhguru. If you live in suspicion, always thinking everyone is out to get you, you will only do very small things in life. Trust is very important. You don't lose trust when you don't have an emotionally mature person in front of you. What you learn is who their Cusco hand is. Oh, it's very straightforward. I've met plenty of them, like my facade friend who I was yelling in his face. And that's why I don't yell in anybody's face. And that's why I don't get angry. Because the minute I'm yelling in his face and he's got a blank stare, I had already learned prior to that his reason for being an asshole, a buffoon, and treating people like shit and not having any friends except for me and another person who's not a friend, was because of his actual attachment. I'm not laughing because it's funny. He's got rejection wounds, attachment wounds. He's got the childhood wounds. We cannot rebuild having faith in people until we talk about how it got broken. Thank you, Patrick Tan. And he also shares how people who didn't get good parenting have a hard time with therapy because they don't think they deserve it. And they feel really weird when they're getting a safe haven secure base, when they're being treated like a person with decency. And then they have a person who's not reactive because, again, you're not bringing chaos when they're seeking it. And they're like, what's going on? So in a good therapist, they get to heal all that. And that's why they actually know that they cannot raise their vibration, live in abundance, or manifest their way through childhood trauma. So they go to therapy, take good care of themselves. They respect exploring their own reactions from their past and the impact they had on those around. And they work with that. And then we get to find out how they're working on the maladaptive patterns of behavior. And as a healthy self-worth human being, I get to be part of that beautiful journey that they're healing because they're welcoming a safe haven secure base, unlike those who think it's polyamory people's fault for why families are wrecked or pronouns. No, it's families are where they're at because we have people who don't take seriously getting their body in connection with ventral vagal state, and those are spiritual bypassers and the pseudo-intellectual public figures and more. But 3D, 4D ain't going anywhere because, while I know we will not demand anyone to, again, help us emotionally regulate, especially a partner, while projecting what is Cusco's attitude, they actually think that their calculation, there is stress and struggle of the mind. By the way, when you're in calculation, the left mode, I just want it to be a right world with facts, not it feels right. What's up with this bullshit of frequency and vibrance? So this dude yesterday, he's just like on a roll with the vibe group, and I'm like, wow, you really don't know that you're really grumpy right now. And that energy is of all the cynical people. That's why you got a community that's paying you for that. I really feel for you all, because your bodies are in this low frequency and you're growing bitter as you get older, and it's not affecting my energy, but I'm sure. Well, anyways, the adaptive child part is a child's version, thank you Terry Real, of what a grown-up is supposed to look like. And they also would love them to be just like them. So they're perfectionistic and unforgiving. Yeah, that's why we don't take and do anything when we got a person who is triggered and being in their 16-year-old, the teenage version, the fight response. It's just let them get it out. Whatever competence, capabilities, and genius we may have, all of it is meaningful only where there's balance. Thank you, Sadhguru. And as he shares, if you think you're big, you become small. If you know you are nothing, you become immense. That is the beauty of being human. But what you understand is when somebody is being in grandiosity and contempt, it's better to just let it talk it out. That way you don't have to use a lot of time. They will follow and back up all of their mannerisms, thanks to 7 to 14, again, charming, dogma, pseudo-intellectuals, spiritual bypassers. They'll even think that positive people are spiritual bypassers because they don't understand what ventral energy is. So I'm positive because I took Albert Einstein's actual suggestion to stay away from all negative people because they have a problem for every solution. But also, see, I'm logical and genuine, and I'm a perfectionist who's imperfect. So I learned how being blissful is not a goal by itself. It is just a good condition to make life's journey. Thank you, Sadhguru. So my ventral vagal state, I didn't really realize I was using it as I was mindfully aware of being Maria with integrity and flaws, which is why I know I'm not good or bad. I mean, depends who you ask. So emotionally immature people, on the other hand, think that by telling us who's good and bad, that we might take their side. We don't. We just allow ourselves to notice, wow, so you follow spiritual bypassers, pseudo-intellectual public figures. I know, again, I'm moving with pseudoscience, but I'm not pushing anything on you. Just self-help, personal development, spiritual growth journeys. If you want, again, you can become a paid subscriber for the inner growth mindset. Very basic. If you want mentorship, one-to-one. I mean, it's not fancy. It's actually the depths of your emotional plane. I love being Maria. Fear was the most challenging of all the emotions. As for twin flames, soulmates, yeah, this is a really easy feat once you get past all the bullshit that the 4D brought around. Yeah, they disrespected a whole bunch of people, for me at least, because, you know, I know God. And I know that I'm in my body, as Hippocrates points out, and that you have the same soul that I do, but you have a different body. And like Peter Levine points out, body stores trauma, memory in the bones, muscles, and tissues. And that's why yoga is supporting ventral vagal portfolio toning exercises, mindfulness, meditation, integration of brain. And an idiot who says it brings demons out of you doesn't know Peter Levine, or doesn't believe in him. Or neuroscientist Patrick McNamara, who proves there's no demon, but there's a fear receptor in the brain that goes wonky, nightmare after nightmare after nightmare, because the brain's trying to heal itself. So here's why people don't like me, because I actually know only teenagers. I don't do any of this with any person out there, but I'm sharing it with you all because you're interested, obviously, in being a emotionally mature person. So they don't choose to be immature. They also don't drain our energy, but yes, we do pick them up when the ascension energies. We have had some amazing, interesting stuff go on. Yep, I know all about it, but like I shared in our inner growth mindset reading, we're all good. The ones of us who are expanding, the ones who are basically doing their next round are doing their next round. It's very easy to explain to you what adaptive child part do. Let me continue. So they follow around those who are just giving them stereotypes, generalizations, yesterday's news. Again, teenagers know a lot more about how to hear the difference between AI and human because they've been surrounded by it. And you cannot lose our humanity. I'm not afraid because I have faith in humanity again, and I know God, and He's intelligent and discerning and equanimous, as is Akash Source. And people who play God don't seem to understand that, no, there's one. You can call it all the different words. It's simply put, and it is intelligent, not stupid. Just saying. So there's no need for anybody to save anyone, but there's actually how you get motivated. You get motivated because of purpose. What's your purpose? Use your human name. Awesome. So when you own your sense of self, Maria's my purpose. I'm a cockroach. My mom still loves me. I'm meaningful and meaningless. I got to learn all about how it works. Yes, every time anyone lacks the capacity to be self-aware of how they will have brought forth the lack of emotional relationship. So I am a big feeler. Yes, I know, right? Can you imagine? All I want is a hug. Sometimes you don't get what you want. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, no, it's not only sometimes, you always get what you need. You get what you need. Yes, like water and air and food. So there you go. And actually, when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are, all your dreams, right? So when you have faith, and again, I'll share the clips of the podcast with Cynthia, even though it will be weird for some of you again, but it won't for others. So I talk about what God feels like, meeting God, and something like that. I forget the titles that there are, but I also talk to you about my experience with God as unconditionally loving. Let me remind myself of the question. She asked, describe experiencing God through unconditional love, compassion, and curiosity. That's how I describe experiencing Him, rather than through rules and fear. And she says, what was the moment or realization that helped you fully embrace the path? So I share a story that I haven't shared a lot, but it's when I'm a kid. I know I shared it at least a couple times in the podcast, the audio probably not YouTube, but where my mom would put my twin and I to bed and say, okay, it's time to sleep. Sleep like little angels, and she also taught me self-respect and what grown-ups who manipulate and that are not respectful do, and how to respect them, but to go tell her. And so that's why a child-centric environment is where I know what healthy self-worth is. I'm not confused. My faith in humanity cannot physically be broken because, one, scientifically, I am led by my higher self and I'm in my ventral vagal state. Spiritually speaking, I'm of faith. Can I prove it? No, I don't try to. I learned from my teenage boyfriend how I would never, ever, ever, ever get into a type of argument like that again, because it was completely his effective realism from his friend killing himself and him thinking that he can tell a person of faith that it's fear. And it's not fear. I don't have fear. I don't want to die because, yes, I like living. That's a whole different story. But people who don't understand why I like living, well, you're so silly. Why are you afraid of death? Because I actually want to continue living. I mean, really, it's not because I'm terrified. I use fear because I don't want to die. So, aliveness and depth of emotional experience, and this is why you feel life intensely, deeply, and you're not looking for numbing agents, and you're not looking to waste time with any of that, which is the lack of humanity that people have. I mean, so, anyways, enough about those sidetracks. I want to finish reading this and then we'll continue a little bit chit chat, and then I might let you go. No, I'll let you go. So the adaptive child part, besides following quote unquote idiots around, they also disregard going to get themselves healed, and they disregard every single sign that they have what is an unhealthy self-worth God, and they date toxic people and da. So the spiritual bypassers are the ones who continue to crap on humanity. They have emotions that are not mature, and that's where it's at. It's not about it having to be someone who's positive. No, someone who's actually positive will also be able to do negative. We just don't choose to use those words. So some people are smart enough to know how to get to know each other versus basically make blanket statements based on just one interaction. And really, subjective reality, I can choose to explain myself and express myself with the words I want. And if you don't like it, then I'm going to know you're an adaptive child part, because the only people who don't enjoy interactions are the ones who are trying to prove things. And go do research in a lab in an academic setting, please, or do it by yourself with flat earthers. I mean, really, but I'm not trying to prove anything. So a functional child adult is a securely attached, healthy self-worth human being who knows there's no authority figure outside of their self. And God is not an authority figure, because he doesn't whip me into shape and make me afraid. I don't follow rules in the very medieval time way. I know exactly what discerning equanimous love sounds like and what true God sounds like. And it ain't some scary, let me whip you into... When Elvis came around, they cut his legs off of TV. I mean, because he was dancing. Sure, I don't like all of the way people are dressing either, but I'm getting older. So I'm remembering when I was a teen, I was like, come on, grown-ups, you're being so old. Can you leave it alone? So why are grown-ups forgetting? Oh, grown-ups lose their adolescent essence unless they keep it. I've kept mine, which is why I know that the kids will know better on AI. And I'm not afraid of it being anything bad because we have actual good grown-ups who care to build, our IHP community included, a fair and just society because we are securely attached people, non-traumatized in our ventral vagal state. So we do know that emotional depth actually is shown in a ventral vagal state with the capacity to know the difference. Emotionally mature people seem emotionless only to the ones who think that being in their modulated, therefore they're sympathetic, and therefore in their charged state, that is the real emotions, which is why they describe adaptive child part people, their behavior as the real them, so that mask as they're performing with the in calculation, again, there's stress and struggle of the mind, and giving there's joy. If you live in suspicion, always thinking everyone is out to get you, you will only do very small things in life. Trust is very important. Sadhguru. Okay, so when you see an FBI agent telling you everybody keeps secrets, and so we're going to make more secrets, and he also, or a CIA agent, and he also shares another one on how to know that people are selfish because on the airplane they'll put their mask on first. You can tell where he's coming at. Also, I'm a political science major, so I heard all about these people and their negotiating tactics, and I know all about rhetoric and all of it. And I also know my gut is a good gut, so I know which angle, because when they're curious, open, accepting, and loving, they know more. When they're stingy and they're defensive and protective, they know less. So they have golden nuggets to add that we put into the pile of the big pile that will then be what is distributed, because that's how intelligence and winning is done. It's because we notice who does shame, blame, fault, revenge, and continues to see and keep it small. Yeah, intelligent mind, not influenced by memory, implicit, explicit, or biases, also by any kind of what I would want to see as a lifestyle of choice. I won't make you be polyamory. You won't make me be monoamory. I won't make you do anything, but I definitely won't say you have integrity because you're monoamory or polyamory. No, I'll say you have integrity the minute I can see that what anybody else says about you don't matter, and that you have actual confidence, which means you know what humility means, which also means you know that this subjective reality is subjective because of neuroception, an embodied brain, and it's being proven again and again and again what a bilateral, vertical, and overall brain will do, and I went through it. So when you do, I don't want to do it like that, self-help, personal development, but you've praised getting your inner child back, well, at least you stood up for that. Now you have done the thing that the choo-choo train didn't do. The choo-choo train kept going and said, you're choosing, and that's why they have opportunity to choose to say, this is how it really is meant to be felt. And I know emotions last 90 seconds. And no, it's not because you're emotionless. It's because when you're using your prefrontal cortex and you're not using your temporal junction to ruminate like the Zen master's laundry, you're using your integration of the brain, your muscle. So neuroception plus neuroplasticity. And you consistently using your prefrontal cortex means your insula grows, not your amygdala. I learned this from Dr. Daniel Siegel, and I know all about it. So differentiation of the self, you got a solo self, you join us, become paid subscriber or free, but it's actually healthy self-worth human beings. It's nothing special. It's just feeling deeply and thinking deeply and having a good time with it. And then you know how to, I love to love, and my baby, he loves to laugh and live and learn and expand and not cast stones. Catch a falling star, and you put it in your pocket and never let it fade away. Love may come and tap you on the shoulder on some starless night, and you may just want to hold him, her, or they, and look, you have a pocket full of starlight. And there you go. So life can't get any more better than this, as science proves what spirituality had taught me, that all my brothers and sisters have the kingdom of God inside them. Thank you, Jesus. They will be saved, don't worry. The restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating people. They will get there because we will all help them. We will help them, even the ones who fall. You fall and don't get up. Well, only a fool believes that success achieved alone is real. Thank you, John Amaechi. And fix your destructive mindset in 15 minutes, and Laura LeCunff. Now, cynical people, escapist, perfectionist mindset people, they could learn from Laura LeCunff and more, but What I'm going to say is I know what trauma memory feels like, a sliver of it, because I had it in one of my demos in my courses. So I know that fear and love coexist. It's not a concept of bad or good. And we can be those who bridge that gap. But the hand that is in the desert has to actually know they can achieve the moon and the stars, and therefore to not pray to fake idols, which I know how those who deny decentralizing of the self, yoga and all this, it's sad. The Dalai Lama, I'm so happy he said, we're all here, the religious ones of us. We all teach the same stuff. I hope they welcome his call. If they don't, it's okay, because the spirituality community is here. It is very sad for my heart, not angry, because I'm not God, and I'm not a pissy in my pants little 3-year-old. One thing, I'm not a 16 idiot either. I never was, though. What I'm trying to say is we have faith. God is smart. That's it. Nobody needs to be punished, because anybody who wants to punish somebody else has forgotten what the word humility means. I was in my world religions class as the teacher asked a very specific question about Christianity. Number one, Christianity is the umbrella religion. Everything else is beneath it. People who want to correct me, I leave it alone, because I'm like, I need to find my teacher to ask him about this stuff and let them know that all these people are actually wanting to be smarter than he is about the subject matter he's an expert in. But I won't find him, and I won't do that, because again, those who are buffoons actually come to somebody and then begin to not be curious but interject with that. They don't know what they're talking about. I can't prove it. I'm not going to. Okay, so emotionally immature people, they justify their behavior, whether it's cold, insensitive, lacking humanity, all of it. Thank you, Gary V, for being out there. I love he shared a couple and more quotes on one, people using the emotional currency of envy, jealousy, and non-responsibility, and how compassion, empathy, and another word I forget, is a soft skill that is great with, yes, hard business. So you are overflowing in your humanity. Divinity descends. Thank you, Sadhguru, but it's not about it being divinity. It's that you're a conscious human being who owns a sense of self. Thank you, Dr. Janet Siegel. So science explains where determined says we have no free will. I'm going to say we do, but I understand why his book, The First 3 Years of Your Life, they will determine how you will feel every day when you wake up. And if you don't ask yourself, why am I always tired, and then go and figure it out with a good therapist, there's your cue. People who don't actually do, let me go and get myself into therapists until 20, 30, we don't know, but it doesn't matter. You're going to get out of hell. You're going to get your integrated brain. You're going to get somewhere. What you're going to also know is how the body, yes, it might keep the score, but as our lovely Lisa Feldman points out, the brain is keeping tabs. Where are you? Here you are. The brain is running a model of its body. Lisa Feldman Barrett. So when you pick and choose which topics you like of the embodied brain, really can't pick and choose. You're going to bring it all in if you know what you're doing. Self-help, personal development, spiritual growth. I know what I'm doing. Be yourself. When someone said, why would they need you? I said, well, because I give them an inner growth mindset. Well, that's not enough. Well, today I know it is enough, because it's all people who want to be more happy, more themselves. And then I know also the ones who won't be here, and it's okay, because they're not taking care of their inner child, and I can't actually stand up for their inner child, because they're the ones who are actually going to stand up for the cat that's going to eat them alive, because that's why they don't go to therapy. They don't deserve to be loved. They didn't get it when they were 1, 2, 3. So anyone who wants to talk about humanity as pieces of shit, I know where they come from, and I know that I won't be doing anything, because God taught me how not to play a know-it-all, and the smart attachment trauma educators taught me how biologically rude people work. And then I know that it's not my business what your body's doing, because it's your business. And if you want to keep it in modulated, dysregulated, you'll even hear smart people tell you how restorative embodiment is your health. And you'll say, but we have to stay in sympathetic. No. Did you not hear the explanation? You must have missed the, I don't know, like, how old are you again? But maybe you're 20, 18. I don't know. What year is it? So as I get older, I just wonder, are people dumb? Because I'm pretty sure that they said something very well. No, they're not dumb. The biologically rude ears. They talk over people. They don't know mindfulness at all. because they don't know how to sit in silence inside, and then to notice nobody is an authority figure inside of you, and meaning we're authority figures of ourselves, but then there's subject matter experts. So my world religions teacher, he's an expert in his subject matter, he's teaching it, and he shares, so Christianity is the main religion, everything else is beneath it. So you only need two things to be Christian. It doesn't matter that you will be a part of one of the denominations. So when one or more people, they decide, I leave it alone. I don't actually do any arguing, and I don't involve myself in any of that, because I'm going to share it this way. If I wanted to prove things, I'd be researching in a lab, doing something with academia. That would have been a use of my time. If I'm socializing, I will not be engaging in any way, shape, or form in proving shit. Because now what I have is a very boring human being in front of me. So I have fun with it because I got curious about people's opinions, because I don't know your opinion. And I'm not arguing with people because I don't want to, because it's not work to actually share my thoughts. And I didn't make it into my mission to make it work. Meaning I'm not going to make work out of a conversation. So emotionally immature people, on the other hand, they follow each other around. They stick together. They even have shared pain points, trauma charges, dogmas. Above all, they make up excuses for when they are resisting healthy self-worth, options to get their body, by the way, in connection in a ventral vagal state, with a good therapist. In fact, the same individuals, they use psychoeducation, words, concepts, alongside the word morality, integrity, virtue, and you'll notice they think that they know composure, they know what's right. I mean, it's grandiosity is not hard to spot, nor is contempt, nor is a person who is weaponizing, quote unquote. Really what they're doing is wielding their mouth with information, and a ventral vagal state person will allow this to happen because, again, let me not waste my time, because I got a 3-year-old, a 16-year-old with a half-a-brain person who's actually completely without an open heart and is not having a good time, nor am I. So it's something that you'll know, because they dismiss the healing journey of themselves, but they also dismiss you and your opinion, your mindset, your lifestyle choices. They just say, oh, you're polyamory? Well, all people are masochists. All polyamory. Really? But this was a cute one. It's like, but you're all masochists, not the healthy self-worth ones. But that's hard. But you let your parents choose your job. They must be happy, right? Okay, so when you know healthy self-worth when you meet it, because people with healthy self-worth laugh with me about these types of encounters. So the only ones who don't find it funny, I think, are not people I know, actually. Or they might not tell me the truth in my face. That's actually another part. So the people who use psychoeducation words and concepts, and they weaponize them like little sword fights, they dismiss other people's opinions, mindsets, they judge us, they judge everything, and they actually allow themselves to use their charged biases with the pseudo-intellectuals who give them fuel based on false morality and stories, dogma, everything, you name it. Again, Elvis got his legs cut off. Yes, today we got a bunch of people who are dressed up in certain ways, but again, anybody remember being a teenager? So my point is, when someone's trying to win an argument, back to my world religion teacher, as I keep forgetting to finish that story. So one, emotionally immature people are in their reactivity, already aiming to win an argument, dominating an argument, and they want to be right. Like the depth child part described by Terry Real, the individuals are self-focused, they are self-righteous, they're also going to not leave it alone. And when you don't take their side, then maybe they will give you the silent treatment at best, and who gives a shit? Honestly, I'm like, that's fine with me. I don't want to be engaging with you anyways. But that trigger and reactivity, they don't take ownership of it. So they don't become responsible. They don't look at their emotional charge or their grandiosity or their insecure ego or their subconscious behavior or anything that's coming up as theirs. Nope. They just like to basically point a finger and let you know what you did wrong and what you did and stuff like that, or not. I mean, at the end of the day, really, again, a needy person will always be a needy person, because that's the whole point. Emotionally immature people, they want love and you to accept them. They don't want to do the work, like Patrick Chan points out. They don't hurt our feelings though, Patrick, so we know how to handle any of children around. So in my world religions class, teacher presents to us what repenting for your sins means. I already know it because my good Christian Catholic upbringing. And so I know it means that When someone repents truly, they don't repeat it again. And from a psychological perspective, the sciences that taught me all about attachment trauma, when someone is able to move beyond identifying with what they've done as the worst possible thing ever. So when people identify and then they hold on to that image with a word, so it's not about you forgiving yourself. Some things that have been done might be never forgivable by you, but it's allowing yourself to know, if I stay stuck in this image of me as having committed the most heinous of whatevers and not allow myself to feel, I'm going to actually not make any kind of improvement. Okay, so this is why it's not, I don't know what it feels like to be committing something so heinous that I would be upset at myself, but I understand what they're saying, and a person who's smart would understand what they're saying. And they would take the time that it requires for them to be able to process that information. But if they're smart, they understand, if I don't forgive me for making a mistake. And that is why they give various ideas to those. Write a letter to whoever you hurt. Pretend to write a letter. Pretend you see them. It's still going to help you work through things, which is why it's an honor to meet people who heal from trauma. And those who heal, that's where, if they're healing for real, they will know of securely attached, non-traumatized people who are in their ventral vagal state. So they would be aware, I don't need to be pissing my pants because some people feel good about life and human beings, and that their faith in humanity, they would be happy if they're healing. I am still looking forward to meeting more of people who will say, wow, we have securely attached, healthy self-worth people out there. It's really amazing that we can have the ones who are going to, in the face of suffering. Where's the Dalai Lama? Some dude doesn't know who the Dalai Lama is, apparently. He goes up to me and says, how dare you smile in the face of all this suffering? That's a grumpy human being. Oh, that Dalai Lama, he's amazing. They're all amazing, the wise ones. So anybody who gets grumpy, it's like, okay, you know, I get grumpy too, but we can all work on grumpiness. Because come on, there's plenty of people who actually need our support. So, Dalai Lama. We can approach life with laughter and love, not in spite of all the suffering, but actually because of it. That we have a kind of responsibility to bring joy into the world. And at times in our podcast, I've said we don't have the responsibility, we have the ability. Because, as Patrick Tian points out, I cannot demand any other person to help me emotionally regulate while I'm projecting my, whether it's a childhood abuser story or a trauma charge or whatever broken faith in, okay, so whatever is from your human life. And so humanly speaking, putting for a minute all the other stuff to aside, that's why science proves what I had already got taught by catechists. But again, I'm a self-led human being who's a self-agent. I got a 3-year-old, got all my child parts, they're all here. I have no brokenness because I'm not defective, nor is any of my brothers and sisters, which is why the most heinous crime would never make me say, I will not welcome you as a brother or sister. Now, I've said one thing in my life that I actually do know. If someone said, you have to regret one thing, otherwise, I have it. I picked it. That way I have an answer for you. But it's not a regret. But yes, I remember learning. I said, I shouldn't have said that. Now I can't take it back. But if I went back to time, I would say it again because I meant it, even though I don't feel it. I meant what I spoke, but I don't feel it the same way as I actually didn't feel it. It was just me being upset. Because you actually don't, you can't not forgive if you're open-hearted. And really that word, I like Dr. Daniel Siegel's explanation of what forgiveness is, because it's processing the emotional stuff. You know the past will never return, and you are aware of that. And so like my 11-year-old, when I'm in my hypnotherapy session, as vulnerability speaks through me, because I'm seeing all these 11-year-olds be mean, but they're really just pretending because they don't want to be vulnerable. Vulnerability just spoke, it would have been really nice to meet a vulnerable 11-year-old, and that won't ever happen. I'm okay about that. I'm not suffering it. I'm a realist. I know that I'm 45. I'll meet vulnerable people, yes. There won't be an 11-year-old. It's okay though. It's okay, because I actually learned a lot, and that's from my 11 and 14 years. It's okay, you were stupid too. Now you learned. And then God taught me not to play know-it-all. So this man, world religions teacher, he shares what I already knew, common sense. So we got a thief and we got a murderer. I'm going to test you too. No, I'm not. I'm just going to present to you what he presented to us. These are college students, okay? And I'm in my mid-20s. So their adolescent brain is almost done. 25 for women biologically, 28 for men, okay? The full development of your frontal lobes, I believe. But the adolescent brain is from 11 to 25-ish, something like that. So, again, don't write down notes. I forget data and fuck it up, and they're still doing research, but that's the gist of it. So, he asked the class, after explaining what repenting for sins and Christianity is, who they think goes to heaven, if the thief or the murderer. I already knew who it was. Who do you think it is? Okay, it is the murderer, because he truly repents. Guess what majority raised their hand for the thief? The majority thought the thief, because it's a lesser crime. It was like, I don't know, 2-3 hands, my hand, and I don't remember all of the other ones, but it was the minority who knew what repenting means. To this day, left brainers, what I call the ones who, I just want people to stop with feeling right the facts, and I am understanding when anyone is in an upset, because I'm upset at any of that, which is children who get hurt, people who get hurt, animals who get hurt, everyone who gets hurt. So, just, fair society, yeah, it doesn't happen with people actually continuing to hurt each other. But guess how many people actually think that the survival mode is the way to go? The CIA agent who tells you about secrets people are keeping and you needing to keep more secrets. The woman who says, here, let me give you a list of how many questions to ask somebody so you don't get fucked in the ass, and by basically a dating I'm just like, wow. So you just see a bunch of human beings who lack faith in humanity, and that's spiritual bypassers and pseudo-intellectuals who sell their dogma to bullshit individuals who don't notice any better. And that's why God taught me not play know-it-all, because I already know it's very straightforward. You can choose to be kind, you can choose to be unkind. No, Maria, it's not that straightforward, is it? No, thank you, Peter Levine. And Robert Sapolsky was determined. It's not lack of imagination for evil. There is no evil in the way of imagination. There's called 1 to 22 Michael Stone forensic criminologist scale. They all end up in prison. They all have low emotional intelligence. Even the high low emotional intelligence end up in prison. The 14 to 22. So when you ask me about evil, it don't exist. What exists are pathologies and people running around following each other. That's what exists, and I can spot him like a hawk. Does it matter? No. Because I know God. He's great. So is Akash, Anima Mundi. And I can mean something and mean nothing, and that's okay. Why? Into the unknown, into the unknown. Hey, God, so humanity will have the kingdom of God. Thank you, Jesus, because of scientists. Can I go now? No, I don't want to go. I want to stay. It's fine, Maria. You can stay. Thanks, God. I'm cool. So that's how it works when you have a direct relationship. And you also know that everything happens for a reason. Every action has a reaction, and what is meant to come will find its way to come. So when you have a true relationship with God and you're not actually bowing down to any masters, and you're not actually acting like you're a know-it-all and that you're the only way humanity can connect with God, because really, I put so much work in my subliminal messages. It's through me that you can get to the higher ascension planes. Really now, come again through you. Wow. So are you out in the desert by any chance? And did you take the bait of following the spiritual bypasser, savior complex people, or anybody who is still an adaptive child part who doesn't like to be all gooey? So there you go. When I've heard the divine protection, I'm like, from who? Who am I in danger? Asteroid, please don't hit me. Please. Roof, please don't fall. I'm dying by the minute. I'm actually, I'm aging. I'm so ugly. And there you go. So here's why I have a goofy bone. And that's where you get to see all of it. So join us, and welcome to our late IHP shows. They're informal. Everything's informal. And remember, I have 2-3 more voices. Who knows? But I know that I'm going to ask teenagers to teach me how to differentiate between AI and human voices at some point. I don't care. I'll get somebody to help me with that stuff. No, I do care, but I'm just saying I'm not afraid of competition. meaning people who want to dismantle other people, because you know what cowards do. They don't know how to build their own stuff, and they're stingy. So we're happy God gives everybody something. And my fearful brothers and sisters, some need to know. So trauma charge is very painful. They have to choose to want to go to therapy. It's very serious business. When I first was coming out of my trauma courses, I was crying. I was like, I can't go out. I have confidence. I have higher self-worth. I completely have no physical doubt of me whatsoever. I'm a walking, talking ventral vagal state in my prefrontal cortex. And I kid you not, this one human being who couldn't see me made me think of my 4D brothers and sisters who described how 5D people would not be seen and would not be engaging with 3D, 4D. But I was like, this is bullshit. I know it is, because I don't have Harry Potter's invisible cloak. I know I'm a mystic, but still. So in the meantime, humanly speaking, the scientists explained it to me. So when you have this lovely bilateral integrated brain, you got a ventral vagal state like I do, you have a whole self, you lead by it, and it's ownership of it, and you look into the eyes of somebody who has shame and stuff that are trauma charges, it flares up. All of their stuff flares up. I'm not kidding with you all. There's another story. You won't hear about that story. You might at our workshops and retreats, but only if we do any in person, not even digital, as this is how amazing this story is. And it's one of those, you can't prove it. I won't try to. I mean, I know scientists will say, you can't prove, yep, I'm pseudoscience. I ain't proving anything, but I want to get together with my 5D and beyond mystics and have a good time as we chit-chat about all this amazing shit. But like grown-ups, not like the ones that, there's an energy vampire, So, this human being, I actually tested it out because I was trying to talk to them the first 2 times, and I'm like, hey, it seems like I'm not here. And then I went in their face and I talked to them, not yelled, and they completely ignored me. And then they started to look over at me, and they would say things of the kind, I know what people say about me. I'm not an alcoholic. Don't look at me like that. I said, I wasn't really looking at you, and I wasn't. I was looking over, but really I didn't say anything. So this happened a couple of times, until then eventually they spoke to me and made a nickname for me too. And they actually touched my heart, meaning made me so sensitive when they were happy to meet my family, and they told them my nickname and how we met, and they were trying so hard to speak English, and I was just so touched. And then I found out that they're getting a little bit better because they have a good job, although they could be way better than what they are, but at least they found purpose, which helps them stay on track, but they only stay on track so that it's a functional alcoholic. So, I mean, it's not fun because, it's a functional one, but you can't make people do anything they don't want to. So, when you know you cannot raise your vibration, live in abundance, or manifest your way through childhood trauma, you know why people need to rebuild first their faith in humanity, meaning in whatever it is that broke it in the first place with the Patrick Tan. Once you become an inner child who's a functional child adult, you definitely are going to be back, and we're going to have fun, because those are the people who welcome not only the inner growth mindset stuff, but just talking about spiritual science, all of it together, and having a good time. So yeah, I like to be able to give you the science in the pseudoscience way, because the human element, spiritual and spirituality, I immediately got the download when I was opened up to Claire's that it's my human makeup, and all of you can do it. And I love sciences who continue to share, how qualitative data is built to other scientists. We need replication of, so that's why I'm like, I'm not planning on trying to prove any of the, stuff that we do, but I know who will benefit from Akashic record readings, Reiki, Tarot Oracle, in a way of personal development, spiritual growth. I also know that 3D, 4D get together because trauma charges are really painful. Like I said, it's a person's personal choice. You can't make someone choose love, and to love themselves first, and to know that humanity is amazing, although we got a bunch of shit going on. And we know, but candlelight illuminates damage beneath the feet with wave of lights for all of our brothers and sisters, and circumstances in the night. Mary handsome and trust. I forget, where is it? My body gave me this channeled message. I want to share it with you all, especially if you're new, you haven't heard it yet. but they marry and mirror, an invasion of trust. And here we go. This one, candlelight, illuminates through circumstances in the night that marry laughing and handsome and mirror an invasion of the reflection of trust. And that's where it is a very beautiful stream of consciousness that you will have heard before. And so when you know that you and I trust each other based on if we're expanding consciousness together, because we are safe haven, secure base, and we don't heal trauma with the wrong people. So you want to stay away from negative and stupid people, but you also want to stay away from people who make mediocrity look good and pseudo intellectuals look good. It's not about us not knowing. We all contribute. So every person contributes. That's the point. But mediocrity is treating your brothers and sisters, all of humanity, as pieces of shit when we know about attachment trauma. And that's for those of us who are knowledgeable. Those who don't have knowledge and they say, everyone has something to believe in. Sure, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to prove it to you. I'm the woo pseudoscience lady, and I don't remember all the data. Not on purpose. My brain actually doesn't work that way. So I've tried, but I really don't want to do that. I tried when I was a teenager. In fact, I actually used to look up to the Italians for their educational methodology because their kids remember a bunch of stuff. My brain won't. Today, as a grown woman who's also mystic and who can tell you how we always will be given the exact, from the spiritual perspective, the soul, right? You know what you're going to be growing and whatnot. So you're given that which will help you achieve that which you decided you were going to achieve in the first place. Spot on. Had I been a giant, you better bet I would not be here. Oh no, I would not be here. I would so not be here. And that's why I'm happy I'm not a giant. And had I been able to regurgitate material, then I would have probably been an annoying human being, like the ones that I get to see out there with sticks up their asses, because that's how boring, left alone, like people who actually don't start to have fun in life at some point with knowledge. And so on and so forth. I have kept you a lot more than I wanted. Thank you for sticking around and for sharing moments with me and laughs. I look forward to being back with more. Again, you can become a paid subscriber, the link below, or if you're hearing me on the main page. And in the meantime, you can check out the shorts. There are a couple of them and a lot more content. They're samples of our paid subscriber-based content. And again, for mentorship, you inquire. Meantime, again, have a wonderful day. Thanks for stopping by. Like and share and subscribe. Of course, you know that helps the channel grow, but I really don't feel that I have to tell you all this, but sometimes it's a good thing to do, just in case, because it does help the algorithm. Like, I know, but I tend to, as a marketer, always, and really because I like to support the channels I follow, but I do know that sometimes people don't want to. So